So my name is Hayley McQueen and I work as a broadcaster on Sky Sports News. I think initially I wanted to get into sports media because I just love football, and actually I loved all sport. I was massively into sport, played sport, loved it, lived it, breathed it. My dad played football, so I got to kind of see his world from behind the scenes, and realised when I was at university, and I didn't study media or anything like that, it was PR marketing and then a little bit of journalism, and it was all fashion based. I kind of realised, okay, I know a lot more about football and sport than most other females do. I was like, maybe stick with what you know. Gosh, my career path has been long and varied, despite the fact I have obviously been at Sky Sports News for over a decade. So I worked for This Morning when there was Richard and Judy there, a very long time ago. And I basically was a runner. I worked in the fashion department. I would send their fan mail back, having sort of sifted through which were the appropriate ones to get them to sign. So doing all those kind of little jobs just to get an idea of what TV would be like. I worked in local radio as well, worked in lots of different places, not necessarily knowing kind of what I wanted to do. And it was Middlesbrough Football Club who had a TV station, and I went and worked there and was a production coordinator. And again, it was behind the scenes, on the job stuff that kind of taught me those skills. It wasn't necessarily a course. And I did every manner of job because it was a very small team. And I think working for a club channel, I got very lucky because you've got kind of that insider, feel and look around how a football club worked. So that eventually when I came and worked for Manchester United, where I'm sitting doing this interview right now, I was much more experienced. I was in front of camera. It's pretty similar every day in terms of you get in at the same time, you prep in the same way. You can never be prepped for breaking news. I mean, I love the kind of unpredictable nature of breaking news. That's why we love it. You are kind of always on edge whilst you're on air. I've had some great opportunities away from Sky. I loved working on the Champions League. That was really special. I was probably doing it when I wasn't as good a broadcaster as I am now. I've had a lot of experience since, it was 10 years ago I was presenting Champions League football before kind of Sky lost the rights, but I loved working on that. And of course, when the club that you follow is doing really well in a tournament and you're working on it, like Manchester United, I guess my highlights have been around the successes of the club that I love, and I've been really lucky that I've been given the opportunity to have worked for Manchester United. Oh gosh, I think media is hugely impactful in modern football still, but it's completely changed the way that we consume, the way that we read, the way that we can access information now. It used to be that you would maybe get in from school or work and put on Sky Sports News or put on BBC and wait for the sport to come at the end of your local broadcast, whereas now it's literally in the palm of your hand, and we're having to move with the times as well. We might have less viewers than we once had on Sports News, but then we've got more people watching the clips that we have on Sports News, but online. And I think anybody can be a journalist now, really, and put information out there. And I think there's a lot to be said about that, and there are a lot more opportunities to kind of be your own journalist. But equally, it's oversaturated, and I think it can be very hard to try and figure out where the truth can be found in something. But I think it's great that we have access to lots of different ways of consuming your news, and I think there are a lot more journalists working across this industry now and being given opportunities because there are more platforms. I think you have to be multi-skilled. You might be operating a camera and all the equipment, as well as being the person there that's not just in charge of the responsibility of that, but then also being the journalist at the heart of it, and then also the editor. So I think now, I'm guessing, on these incredible courses that you have, you are multi-skilled and multi-talented, which actually makes you more employable than probably someone who came through in my era. You can never prep enough. You can be under-prepped, but you can never be over-prepped. I prep for stuff that might not even be happening in the hours that I'm presenting, but just in case it does, I've got that there. And actually, in a couple of days' time, if that news breaks, I can go back to it. Be over-read, be over-prepped. If you've got a 5-minute interview with someone and you think you might only really need 3 or 4 questions, just write 20 anyway. Learning the skill of managing your time as well, making sure you've got a really good balance between downtime and work time, because it can sometimes all merge in as one, and it can be overload. And whilst your work is your life, your life shouldn't be your work. You should be able to have a little bit of a balance of both, and everyone should be allowed to do that. I think the best thing about working in football is experiencing the highs. I'm not a Leicester City fan, but Leicester City winning the Premier League and the story and how that kind of bubbled and just got bigger and bigger and bigger, then just exploded at the end of the season with them winning the league. It's so exciting. You can feel that buzz in the newsroom as well. And I've worked on Olympics as well. I worked on 2012 Olympics in London. That was incredible, based out at Stratford. And just being part of the buzz and being part of history. Like you might not be out there with them or part of the team, but if you're working in a team, behind a team, you're still part of that story. And I look back now and think, God, I was stood in the square in Manchester reporting on Sir Alex Ferguson's retirement, and they had the kind of big goodbye for him, and I was at the centre of that, and I felt very on the outside of it, just reporting on it. But when I look back, I was like, wow, I reported on this incredible moment of history, and it's like enjoying those moments. Slowly but surely, women were being introduced into this world. I think in the last couple of years, probably 3 or 4 years, there's been an explosion of females, not just in front of camera, but behind the scenes as well. Certainly there's been a massive shift at Sky Sports News, and I think everyone's making a conscious effort to be, not just employing women, but be more diverse overall. We've got to reflect our viewers as well, and sort of the demographic of our, of those that are watching. And I think for women and females coming into it, you will find you are not just a woman alone in a room full of men. There are lots of other women, and they will champion you. You will find your allies. You will find women who have been there a lot longer than you, who want you to succeed. There are a lot of female anchors now, and I think as long as these female anchors, and they're all doing an incredible job, they are paving the way for other females, not just for them to look up to as kind of role models and even mentors at some point, but just as, okay, that's achievable, they've done it. Don't give up. And actually, if an opportunity presents itself, which might not necessarily be the role that you see yourself in, if it's an in, just take it. Because there are a lot of people, particularly at Sky, who started out very different jobs and roles to where they are now, but they're in. And don't turn anything down. If you think that organisation is for you, just get in. It doesn't, once your foot's in the door, it's much easier to stay in. It's much harder to get in. Absolutely network, because you never know who you meet may go somewhere else. And then if you find yourself not within that organisation, or your placements come to an end, or the job that you were doing wasn't for you, you have a contact who's moved probably to within another organisation within the same industry. Yeah, I don't think it does any harm to stray away from sports. I've got quite a few friends who've worked over in news and have come back to sport. I've got those who've worked in entertainment. I think if you're studying sport though, don't just narrow it down to one sport. But I think stepping away and working in any other industry, if you're still watching sport and you're still a fan of sport, you're still continuing that journey. One piece of advice would just be always ask the questions, even if you think it might sound stupid. It won't, and there'll be people before you that have asked those same questions, or ask for advice, or ask for help, or ask for an opportunity. Always ask, don't just sit waiting for something to fall into your lap, because it ain't gonna happen.